Well, when it comes to our winter weather, we have two things that are warming us up. The first is climate change and the second is El Nino. So we're going to take a little bit of a look at how those play into weather in our neighborhoods. Now, winter is actually the fastest warming season out of all the seasons in respect to climate change, and then El Nino actually boosts that up a little bit more. 2023 was almost 1.5 degrees Celsius warmer than the pre-industrial average. So that's some pretty significant warming, and that led into 2024 so far. 2 days in November, for the first time ever, we're over 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial warming. Now, here's a look at the winter warming map. Just as what we're seeing. Notice the Great Lakes in the Northeast are seeing the most significant warming during the winter months, less so back out to the west, but it is getting much, much warmer. Let's talk a little bit more about the average temperature in Lansing specifically. Starting back in the 70s, that winter warming temperature has gone up significantly since then. Notice we are averaging 5 degrees warmer during winter as a whole, and I'm sure a lot of you are noticing it, not just from the lack of snowfall, but from the lack of ice fishing, things like that. More very warm winter days. Now in our area, notice we're up to that 6 to 9 day threshold area. This also is about a 47-degree day or higher. Note we've had a lot of 50-degree days lately, so we'll likely update that and change that given this year being so warm out there. Less extreme cold as well. I'm sure a lot of us are noticing that. Lansing, we usually have a couple of days, at least a couple decades ago, -10, -20 or so, but notice how that's even warmed up. We are barely getting sub-zero lows during some winter seasons now. In fact, this season we hit -4, but comparatively speaking, obviously that was pretty cold. And the whole planet's warming up, and this is a great graph to show because yes, there is a cycle that goes on in the planet, but that cycle's over thousands of years. And then notice the human influenced climate change there. Well, that spiked things up a little bit. And then you have El Ninos and La Niñas. So La Niña is usually the cooler one. El Nino is the warmer one. So as we warm up the global temperatures, El Nino years are consistently higher and La Nina years are consistently a little bit below that trend line. So let's talk a little bit more about that local impact on Michigan. Once again, fastest warming season for Michigan and our neighborhoods. Warmer waters in the Great Lakes can lead to different extreme weather as well, specifically lake effect snowfall. Record warm water with that cold outburst will lead to that snowfall. So here's the departure from normal just for the last couple of months. Notice how the northern tier of the country is very much above average. State of Michigan, same thing. Departure from normal from November 1st through the end of January, which is just about a week ago. We are looking at temperatures that are substantially above average. And that's for the maximum, so this is the high temperature, and for the low temperatures. And look at some of these low temperatures, more than 9 degrees above average, and that's consistently for a couple of months. That's why we have things that are so much more on the warmer side. And just the last 14 days here, we have been significantly above average, and that is going to continue for the next several days. Lastly, we can also attribute specific days now to climate change. This is put out by Climate Central. It's called the Climate Shift Index. The further you go up that index, that's the more times likely something is to happen because of climate change. So our warmer weather, thus the warmer waters over the Great Lakes, are about 5 times more likely to happen because of climate change.